It was a sweltering August afternoon in Charlotte, North Carolina. The air thick with the hum of cicadas and the smoky scent of sizzling ribs on Dad's grill when my sister Jenna tossed those cruel words at me, her voice dripping with disdain as she snatched my nephew Ethan from my arms. I'd raised him for years while she chased fame and fortune, only to be reduced to just the babysitter in front of our extended family at a Gastonia cookout. Then, last week, the courtroom delivered a stunning reversal, leaving her speechless. Ryan humiliated, and my family in irreparable ruins. What would you do if your own sister stole your life, then watched you reclaim it with a vengeance that echoed through the halls of justice? I'm Claire Harper, 32, a single mom and part-time accountant navigating the hustle of Charlotte's uptown district. My life is a precarious balancing act, $42,000 a year from freelance bookkeeping and occasional gigs at a local CPA firm. A cramped two-bedroom apartment off South Tryon Street with peeling paint, a leaky faucet that drips like a metronome, and a 2017 Honda Civic with a dented fender from a fender bender on I-77 during a rainstorm last spring. I've always been the responsible one in our family. The daughter who kept the books for Dad's floundering hardware store in Gastonia while my younger sister, Jenna, 29, danced through life on a stage of her own creation. Growing up in a modest ranch house in Gastonia, 20 miles west of Charlotte, our childhood was steeped in Southern traditions, backyard barbecues with sweet tea and cornbread under the sprawling oak, church potlucks at First Baptist where Aunt Margie's pecan pie was the star, the fireflies lighting up summer nights as we caught them in jars. I was the quiet kid, hunched over a desk with a calculator and Jenna's chaotic receipts from her lemonade stands, sketching logos on napkins with a borrowed pencil, while she twirled in dance recitals, her sequin tutus the center of moms. Adoring gazed at Jenna was the golden child cheer captain at Gaston High, her blonde ponytail swinging as she led chants that rattled the bleachers, always flirting her way out of detention for skipping class or a failed math test. And Dad's fishing buddy on Lake Wiley, where they'd reel in bass while I stayed home with algebra homework and a babysitting gig. Mom framed her recital photos on the mantel, her smile a shrine, while my honor roll certificates yellowed in a drawer, my achievements a quiet afterthought. After high school, Jenna chased stardom with a relentless gleam in her eye auditioning for American Idol with a shaky rendition of Sweet Caroline that earned her a polite rejection. Waitressing at a Waffle House on Highway 74, where she charmed $20 tips out of truckers with a wink. Even dabbling in a failed YouTube channel with makeup tutorials that garnered 200 subscribers before fizzling out. Nothing stuck, but her charm was a safety net, always landing her back on her feet with a new story, a new dream, and a new excuse. 5 years ago, that dream took a sharp, unexpected turn. Jenna showed up at my apartment on a rainy March evening, her mascara streaked from tears, her belly just beginning to show under a tight top that clung to her frame, her boots leaving muddy prints on my carpet. Her boyfriend, Travis, a wannabe musician with a guitar slung over his shoulder and a mullet that, scream 1980s, had bolted after a positive pregnancy test, leaving her with a rented room above. A Gastonia bar and a pile of unpaid bills that included a $300 electric cutoff notice. I can't do this alone, she sobbed, clutching my hand at our kitchen table, the air thick with the scent of Mom's pecan pie she'd brought over as a peace offering. I stepped up, my heart aching for her and the baby she carried, my instincts as the family fixer kicking in. I cleared out my second bedroom, its walls adorned with my old sketches, and moved her in, rearranging my life to make space. I worked nights at the hardware store, tallying inventory under flickering fluorescent lights to cover diapers, formula, and pediatrician visits, my savings dwindling from $3,000 to near zero. Her son Ethan, born on a stormy March 12th, became My world, his first steps wobbling across my living room carpet stained with juice spills. His giggles at my silly songs about trucks and trains echoing off the walls. His tiny hand gripping mine during sleepless teething nights when Jenna was out with a new fling. She partied, dating a string of guys bartenders from the Evening Muse. Gym rats from LA Fitness, a car salesman named Chad who drove a Camaro leaving me to raise him. I didn't mind at first. He was family, and I loved him like my own. His dark curls and bright eyes a mirror to my own childhood. But the dynamic shifted when Jenna started calling me the babysitter, a label that grew sharper with each passing year, each dismissive tone cutting deeper into my soul. The tension that had simmered beneath our sibling bond escalated into a full-blown rift last year, a slow burn that ignited into a blaze of resentment. Jenna landed a gig as a backup dancer for Southern Heat, a regional touring band with a loyal following in the Carolinas, raking in $2,000 a week while I juggled accounting for small businesses, a bakery on East 7th Street, a plumbing outfit, and Matthew's and Ethan's preschool. Drop-offs at a Montessori on Randolph Road. She'd swoop into my apartment every few weeks, her duffel bag slung over her shoulder, scoop Ethan up for photo ops with her bandmates, posing with a guitarist named Jake or a drummer with a man bun, then dump him back with me, her perfume lingering like a taunt, a mix of vanilla and stage sweat. The real blow came at a family cookout in Gastonia last August, the air heavy with the sizzle of ribs on Dad's grill and the buzz of cicadas that filled the humid evening. Ethan, then 4, clung to me, his sticky hands from a cherry popsicle, leaving red smears on my faded jeans, his laughter a balm to my exhaustion. Jenna strutted over in a sundress with a plunging neckline, her hair freshly highlighted at a salon in South Park Mall, and yanked him from my arms with a force that made him whimper. "You're just the babysitter," she sneered, her voice loud enough for cousins, uncles, and Aunt Margie to hear over the country tunes blaring from a Bluetooth speaker, her manicured nails digging into his tiny shoulders as she hoisted him onto her hip like a trophy. Mom nodded approvingly from the picnic table, slicing watermelon with a knife that glinted in the sunlight, while Dad flipped burgers, his silence a tacit endorsement, the smoke curling around his stoic figure. I stood there, frozen, the laughter of relatives fading into a dull roar, my role reduced to a servant in the family I'd sacrificed for, my throat tight with unshed tears. The dismissal deepened over the following months, a relentless erosion of my identity. Jenna's Instagram became a shrine to her new life stories of backstage passes at the Fillmore Charlotte, champagne toasts with the band after a gig in Greenville. Ethan posed in miniature tuxedos for her brand as she pitched herself as a single mom hustle queen. She'd text me demands with a casual arrogance. "Watch him this weekend. I've got a gig in Raleigh. Can't miss it." Or "Pick him up from preschool. I'm at a fitting." I complied, my resentment simmering, my savings dwindling to cover his clothes, little Nike sneakers, a winter coat from Target, and toys a wooden train set he adored. Then came Ryan, a wealthy lawyer from Myers Park, Charlotte's upscale enclave with manicured lawns and gated drives. Jenna moved into his mansion, a sprawling colonial with a pool that shimmered under string lights, a 3-car garage housing his BMW and her leased Mercedes taking Ethan without a word. Her departure marked by a single text, "Thanks for everything, I've got this now." I visited 2 weeks later, my heart sinking as I found Ethan with a nanny, a stiff woman named Margaret with a British accent and a clipboard, feeding him organic puree while Jenna sipped Chardonnay by the pool, her laughter mingling with Ryan's deep chuckles. "He's mine now," she said, smirking, adjusting her oversized sunglasses, her tone a dagger. "You're out, Claire. Thanks for the help, but we don't need you anymore." My heart shattered as Ethan cried for me, his little hand reaching. Through the iron gate, his voice a plea. "Auntie Claire." That echoed in my ears long after I drove away, the Civic's engine a mournful hum. I spiraled into a silent fury. Working late at a client's office on Trade Street, the hum of printers and the flicker of spreadsheets on my laptop screen, my only companions in the empty suite. My credit card maxed out at $15,000 bills for Ethan's preschool tuition at $400 a month. Doctor visits for his ear infections, a winter coat I'd bought him last December when Jenna forgot Christmas. Jenna's Instagram posts grew bolder vacations. In Asheville with Ryan, Ethan on a yacht off Wilmington. Captioned #MomLife with a heart emoji, each image a twist of the knife. Mom texted, let her shine, Claire. She's found her path with Ryan. Her words a dismissal wrapped in piety. Dad stayed silent, his calls reduced to grunts about store inventory or a new fishing lure. His avoidance a louder betrayal than her words. I felt erased, my years of sacrifice nights rocking Ethan through colic. Mornings packing his lunchbox with peanut butter sandwiches, reduced to a babysitter's footnote. My love for him a burden they discarded like yesterday's. Newspaper. I confided in my coworker, Mark, a 35-year-old divorced dad with a weary smile and a son the same age as Ethan. We shared late-night shifts at the CPA firm, bonding over burnt coffee from the break room and tales of custody battles. She's using you, Claire, he said one night, sipping from a styrofoam cup, his eyes kind but firm. You've been more a mom to that kid than she ever was. His empathy sparked an ember of resolve, a plan taking shape in the shadows of my despair. I hired a lawyer, Sarah Jenkins, a fierce 45-year-old with a reputation in family law. Her office a cluttered haven near the Mecklenburg County Courthouse, its walls lined with case files and a faded photo of her with a client's child. She abandoned him, Sarah said, her eyes narrowing as she reviewed texts where Jenna admitted partying in Charleston over parenting, her fingers tracing a screenshot. We can fight for custody based on neglect and your role as his primary caregiver. Idaho law recognizes de facto parenthood. North Carolina's similar if we prove it. I filed for custody, my hands shaking as I signed the papers. The courthouse a cold, echoing maze of marble and murmured voices. The weight of my decision settling like a stone in my chest. Jenna laughed when served with the custody papers, her voice a mocking echo over the phone as I sat in my apartment, the TV muted on a Golden Girls rerun. You'll lose, Claire, she taunted, her tone laced with confidence. Ryan's money funding her defense with a team from a high-powered Charlotte firm, their letterhead gleaming with prestige. Ryan's got the best lawyers here. Just a babysitter with a grudge. My parents ambushed me at a gas station off I-85, the neon lights of a Shell station casting harsh shadows. Family stays together, Mom pleaded, her eyes wet, clutching my arm with a grip that trembled. Her church had askew. Don't do this to Jenna. She's finally happy. Dad nodded, his jaw tight, his hands stuffed in his Carhartt jacket. His silence a complicit wall. I stayed silent, my rage a coiled spring, my determination stealing with each insult. My mind racing with visions of reclaiming what was mine. The pressure mounted like a gathering storm. Greg, Jenna's lawyer, a slick man with a Rolex and a too-white smile, sent a cease and desist letter, claiming I was interfering with family unity and threatening a countersuit for emotional distress. Ryan called, his tone patronizing, offering a $5,000 settlement to back off, his voice smooth as he dangled the carrot of peace. Take it, Claire, and let Jenna raise her son, he said, the hum of his office in the background. I refused, my silence a weapon, my resolve hardening as I hung up, the phone trembling in my hand. Mark warned me of the fight ahead, his own. Custody battle a cautionary tale, but his encouragement, you've got the heart for this, fueled me. I began documenting everything, texts, photos. Ethan's drawings of me building a case in the quiet hours after midnight. Sarah was a bulldog, relentless in her pursuit of justice, subpoenaing Jenna's travel receipts, flights to Nashville for a band gig, hotel stays in Savannah for a girls' trip, proving months of absence that totaled over 200 days in the past year. Nanny logs from Margaret, obtained through a court order, showed Ethan left with sitters 20 days a month. Her meticulous notes detailing missed bedtimes and unreturned calls from preschool. Ethan's teacher, Ms. Rivera, a warm Latina with 15 years' experience at the Montessori on Randolph Road, testified in a deposition, her voice steady as she described my daily involvement packing his lunch with turkey and cheese, reading him The Very Hungry Caterpillar at pickup, wiping his tears after a playground fall. My records were testament receipts for $3,500 in medical bills, texts to Jenna begging for help, photos of Ethan's milestones, his first tooth at 6 months, his 3rd birthday with a cake I baked. The evidence was a fortress, my anger a quiet storm fueling each step, each document a brick in my wall of justice. I dug deeper, my laptop glowing in the dim light of Mia's living room during a late-night session, the hum of her fish tank a backdrop. I found a text from Jenna to Travis, dated months before Ethan's birth. Glad you're gone. Ethan's Claire's problem now. I'll be free soon. Sarah uncovered a prenup Ryan pushed Jenna to sign, hinting she planned to leverage Ethan for alimony if their marriage soured. A calculated move that turned my stomach. The betrayal ran deep, a family conspiracy I'd been too trusting, too loyal to see Mom's favoritism, Dad's avoidance, Jenna's manipulation, all woven into a tapestry of deceit that had ensnared me for years. I couldn't fight this war. Alone, the weight of my family's rejection, a constant burden. Mark, my coworker, offered moral support, sharing custody war stories over IPAs at Sycamore Brewing on North Davidson, the taproom's chatter of comfort. I lost weekends with my boy, but you've got a shot, he said, his eyes reflecting his own scars. Mia, a 34-year-old single mom friend from Ethan's preschool with a sharp wit and a minivan full of snacks, provided childcare swap days. Her kids Liam and Sophie playing with Ethan in her cluttered living room, the air filled with Lego clatters and giggles. Sarah's paralegal, Tony, a gruff 50-year-old with a buzz cut and a smoker's cough, helped organize evidence, his growl a steady anchor as he sorted files in her office, muttering, "This chick's got no case." With them, I found strength, a makeshift family forged in the crucible of my betrayal, their support a lifeline against the blood ties that had failed me. Mia's husband, Greg, not to be confused with Jenna's lawyer, joined the effort, a quiet IT guy who hacked into Jenna's public social media archives, uncovering deleted posts hinting at her neglect. Like a caption erased after a night out, Ethan's with the sitter, time to shine. Their collective presence bolstered me, turning my solitary fight into a community crusade. Each ally a soldier in my quest for justice. The trial began on July 10th. The Mecklenburg County Courthouse, a tense arena under a gray sky, its marble facade a symbol of the justice I sought. The courtroom was packed curious onlookers, a reporter from the Charlotte Observer, Aunt Margie in the back row whispering to a cousin. Jenna smirked, strutting in a sequin dress that caught the light, calling me just a babysitter on the stand, her voice a venomous drawl as she recounted my help with a sneer. Ryan's lawyer, a polished man named Carter with a Harvard tie, argued her wealth suited Ethan, flashing photos of the mansion's pool, the nursery with a $2,000 crib, the implication clear, money trumped love. Sarah countered with my evidence, nanny. Logs, travel receipts, Ms. Rivera's deposition played on a screen, her warm voice detailing my care. The gallery leaned in, the air thick with anticipation. Jenna's cross-examination was a unraveling thread. She stumbled, admitting nights away, I deserved a break. She huffed, her voice faltering as Sarah pressed her on a Charleston trip overlapping Ethan's flu. Ryan's prenup surfaced, a bombshell document Sarah obtained through a leak from his firm, exposing Jenna's plan to use Ethan as leverage, his signature a circ admission. My parents testified, Mom tearful, claiming I was jealous of Jenna's success. Her hands twisting a handkerchief, Dad stoic, nodding, his eyes avoiding mine across the room. I took the stand, my voice breaking as I recounted Ethan's. Cries through the gate, my years of midnight feedings, the preschool mornings, the gallery silent, the judge's pen scratching notes. The second day brought a twist. Travis, subpoenaed by Sarah, appeared, his mullet gone but his guilt intact. I left because Jenna said Claire would raise him, he admitted, his voice low, the gallery gasping. Jenna's face flushed, Ryan's jaw tightened. The evidence piled higher, a mountain of truth against their lies. The ruling came on August 15th, a humid afternoon with rain tapping the courthouse windows. Judge Larson, a no-nonsense woman with gray hair and a gavel that cracked like thunder, declared me Ethan's legal mother, granting full custody based on de facto parenthood under North Carolina law. Ms. Harper has been the child's true parent, providing stability where the biological mother failed. She said, her voice firm, her eyes on Jenna, "Miss Harper, you are now his legal guardian." Jenna gasped, her sequins dull under the fluorescent lights. Ryan's face paled, his hands gripping the table. "You're unfit to parent," the judge added to Jenna, citing neglect and abandonment. My parents stormed out, Mom sobbing, Dad's boots echoing, disowning me with a final glare. I won, but the family I knew was gone, a wreckage I detonated with justice. I'm in my apartment. Ethan asleep in his new bed with a dinosaur comforter, the hum of the AC a lullaby on this September night. The mansion's mine, Ryan settled. Out of court for $1.5 million to avoid a scandal, his prenup a public disgrace. But I'm selling it. The proceeds funding a trust for Ethan and a down payment on a cozy house near Freedom Park. Jenna's post stopped. Her Instagram a ghost town. Ryan filed for divorce, his firm dropping him amid backlash. I took revenge, subtly leaking the prenup to a tabloid, a move Sarah orchestrated. The headline, "Lawyer's Wife Used Kid for Cash," trending locally. My parents are silent, their love conditional. Their Gastonia home a memory I no longer visit. Therapist Dr. Patel, a kind Indian woman with a practice in Noda, helps me process the grief. Her office serene with potted ferns and a view of muraled walls. "You've reclaimed your power," she says, her voice soft over the rustle of her notepad. I'm healing, Ethan's laughter my anchor, my new family, Mark, Mia, Tony, Greg, my support. Their Sunday brunches, a ritual of recovery. I miss the signs, Jenna's charm, Mom's bias, Dad's silence, a web I'd woven with trust. Their betrayal forged my resolve. The babysitter became a mother, justice my revenge. I sued and won more than custody. I won myself, a legacy for Ethan built on their ashes. Would you fight or forgive? Comment below. Like if you're Team Claire, follow for more drama and share.